At the East Barrens, in the outer sect of the Great Mystery Sect, in a short thatched cottage, a pale-faced young man was quietly leaning against the head of the bed. After a long while, only then did Suchun slowly open his eyes. He looked helplessly at the furnishings in the hut and sighed. I probably transmigrated. After spending 2.5 hours, Suchun finally accepted this fact. He had indeed transmigrated to a magnificent fantasy world. He had thought that he would be the almighty protagonist in the novel, an invincible existence standing at the top of the world at the very beginning. However, reality proved that he was overthinking. He was now an outer disciple of the Great Mystery Sect. Not long ago, he went to the desolate mountains with other 4 outer disciples for training. In the end, they encountered a Chi-Si realm beast, and almost all of them were killed. The original host crushed the sect token at the critical moment, calling out to the nearby sect elders for help. After that, the original host lost his memory. Suchun guessed that the original host should have died at that time. What kind of beginning is this? All the meridians in his body are broken, and all the bones are shattered. He can't even move. This is no different from dying. What a sin. It's better not to transmigrate here. Other people can be the almighty protagonists in their time travel stories, but why did I become an ordinary man? Suchun looked at the sky speechlessly, feeling the spiritual energy in his body fading away. At this moment, the only part of his body that could move was his mouth. I don't want such a transmigration. However, in the next second, his heart suddenly dropped. Ding! The God-level bragging system is binding. The God-level bragging system is bound successful. System? When Suchun heard the mechanical voice in his mind, his body trembled. Just as expected, as a time traveler, the system is a must. System, hurry up and introduce your functions. Dear host, this system only has one function, and that is to brag. As long as others keep flattering you in their minds, you will be rewarded. There are 5 bragging levels: white, blue, purple, gold, and red. There will be corresponding differences in rewards between each level. Note: you must not give any verbal or physical hints to others to make them brag about you. Isn't this just a bragging system? Suchun's eyes lit up when he heard the system's introduction. For Suchun, who had read a lot of web novels in his previous life, this was something new. System testing.
Host, Suchun.
Cultivation. 7th level of Qi gathering realm. Meridians are broken. Cultivation can dissipate at any time. Cultivation method. Hunyuan art. Martial art. None. Suchun was speechless. Looking at the system interface, he suddenly wanted to ask, System, are you being serious? Oh, I noticed the novice gift packs for other people were all kinds of divine artifacts and skills. Why haven't I found my package yet? Given his current condition, if he wanted to survive, he could only place his hopes on the novice gift pack of the system. Ding! The system currently does not provide gift packs for the novices. Suchun didn't know what to say. I thought you were awesome after the introduction, but I didn't expect you to be a knockoff. He could not help but complain after hearing the system's cold mechanical voice. This system was manufactured in the fake Silicon Valley, right? It didn't even have gift packs for the novices. He didn't have a novice gift pack and could not move at all. It could be said that there was no difference whether he had this system or not. In the end, he would eventually be dead. But, just as Suchun was about to admit it, the system's voice sounded in his mind again. Ding! Congratulations on being bragged about by others. The brag is level white. Bragging content. Senior brother Suchun will definitely return to normal. 125th. Suchun frowned and looked up at the space in front of him. A screen of light appeared in front of him. The words that showed on the screen were exactly what the system said in his mind. They were so eye-catching that it was difficult to ignore them. It is indeed a knockoff system. This notification method is really special. Suchun muttered to himself, feeling ridiculous. However, it was actually quite unique. But, although this system is quite a knockoff, it looks like there's some hope. 25 people. With the connections that the original host has built in the outer sect for so many years, it shouldn't take long, Suchun thought to himself. He had already guessed why someone boasted about the fact that the toxins in his body were cleansed. Among the outer disciples of the great mystery sect, the original host was considered a little genius. Moreover, his family background was quite good. The family behind him was in actual charge of the city. Not to mention that he never hid his cultivation experience, often communicated with other outer disciples, and never put on airs as a senior brother. That was the reason he was very popular among the outer disciples. The news that he was attacked by a Chi-Si realm beast and his meridians were broken had spread throughout the entire outer sect of the Great Mystery Sect. Presumably, these people who were bragging about him were his junior brothers and sisters. Bragging content. Senior brother Suchun will definitely return to normal. February 25th. Bragging content. Senior brother Suchun will definitely return to normal. March 25th. The system's voice kept ringing in Suchin's mind. The characters on the virtual interface in front of him also began to jump rapidly. At the same time, in the outer sect of the Great Mystery Sect, about 3 kilometers away from Suchin's residence, a group of outer disciples gathered together and discussed Suchin's matter. Senior brother Suchun is really unlucky. He met a level 3 Chi-Si realm beast when he went out to train. Yeah, this is really unexpected. I heard from Elder Xie it seemed that someone deliberately set senior brother Suchin up, and that was why he met that demonic beast. Deliberately? What do you mean? It seemed like someone from the everlasting sect didn't like senior brother Suchun, so they set him up. As soon as he finished speaking, the surrounding people instantly fell silent. Everyone knew that the Great Mystery Sect and the Everlasting Sect didn't get along. Their disciples often had conflicts, and it was a common occurrence. But they never dared to kill people in public. However, to everyone's surprise, they actually dared to set up a trap deliberately. Hee, I don't believe that senior brother Suchun is injured. At this moment, a disciple dressed in the outer sect uniform of the Great Mystery Sect said coldly. As soon as he finished speaking, everyone looked at him in confusion. After all, even the elders said that Suchin's meridians were broken, and he would probably never be able to cultivate again. Everyone, don't forget what happened to senior brother Suchun the first 2 times. Yes, we have to believe that he will definitely make it this time. Everyone's eyes lit up after they heard that. A year ago, Suchun faced 2 life-threatening situations. The first time was when he was out on a mission and accidentally barged into a demonic sect stronghold. At that time, everyone thought that he would definitely die. However, the next day, there was news that a righteous sect's martial arts expert had passed by that place and destroyed all the demonic sect strongholds. As a result, Suchun obtained all the resources in the stronghold, and his realm increased by 2 levels. The other time was when he was on his way home and met the notorious blood demon sect elder. Seeing Suchin's extraordinary talent, the elder wanted to extract his blood essence and refine it. When the news came back, everyone in the Great Mystery Sect thought Suchun was really going to die. But what surprised everyone was, 3 days later, Suchun returned to the sect alive, without any injuries. His cultivation also advanced by leaps and bounds, with a breakthrough of 3 levels in a row. This had happened twice in a row, which made everyone in the Great Mystery Sect curious about Suchun. From then on, no one was worried that Suchun would face any danger outside. This incident happened very suddenly, but all the outer sect disciples who had a good relationship with Suchun thought that he would not be injured at all. Oh, I heard that the everlasting sect was spreading rumors that senior brother Suchun would die in less than a day. At this moment, a young outer sect disciple suddenly spoke. As soon as he finished talking, everyone's expressions instantly turned cold. Humph! Those everlasting sect bastards. When I make a breakthrough to Chi-Si realm, I will definitely settle the score with them. An outer sect disciple looked in the direction of the everlasting sect and said indignantly. Suchin treated him well and often gave him some cultivation resources. Therefore, when he heard that Suchin's accident might be related to the everlasting sect, and they even spread rumors about Suchun, he couldn't help but feel angry. All right, the elders will investigate whether this matter is fixed by the everlasting sect disciples. Everything will come to light when we see senior brother Suchun. We must not be rash, a handsome outer sect disciple said at this moment. looking at the indignant disciples, grim-faced. Most of the disciples here had received Su Chen's favor. Therefore, they respected Su Chen very much. Hearing the everlasting sect smear Su Chen's name, they were naturally unhappy. The everlasting sect wants us to act impulsively this time and cause a war between the two sections. We shouldn't come to their door now. We can't let them have their way. Otherwise, even the elders won't be able to save us. After that, Qiao Yun glanced in the direction of Su Chen's residence. Su Chen had a good relationship with him and often gave him advice on cultivation. As the person close to Su Chen, and also the leader of the people present, Qiao Yun naturally had to be responsible for these junior brothers and sisters. What if they really rushed to the everlasting sect in a fit of anger? At that time, he would be a sinner of the sect. Don't worry, senior brother Su Chen will be fine. I believe everyone here knows about his previous two experiences. He has the legendary Heavenly Tao Providence on him. He will be fine. Although Elder Xia has no way out until now, we have to believe in senior brother Su, Qiao Yun said firmly. That's right. We have to believe in senior brother Su Chen. Perhaps he will benefit from this disaster and directly enter the 8th level of the Qi gathering realm. Just as Qiao Yun finished speaking, a disciple spoke up. After that, the other disciples present echoed. Perhaps by the time we reach senior brother Su Chen's residence, he'll completely recover, Qiao Yun said with a smile. Then, he led the disciples towards Su Chen's residence. At the same time, in Su Chen's residence, bragging content, senior brother Su Chen will definitely return to normal, 13/25. Bragging content, senior brother Su Chen will definitely return to normal, 14/25. Ding. Congratulations on being bragged about by others. The brag is level white. Bragging content. Reaching the 8th level of the Qi gathering realm, 1/30th. Bragging content. Reaching the 8th level of the Qi gathering realm, February 30th. At this moment, a series of system notifications sounded. Su Chen was stunned when he heard the system's voice. It seemed that the connections that the original host had built in the past were not in vain. If people kept bragging about him like this, not only would his injuries recover, but he would break through one level in his cultivation realm. Bragging content. Senior brother Su Chen will definitely return to normal, 22/25. Bragging content. Reaching the 8th level of the Qi gathering realm, October 30th. A series of notifications rang out in Su Chen's mind. Buzz. Very quickly, a majestic spiritual energy exploded in his body. The broken meridians were quickly repaired. In the blink of an eye, he was back to normal. Feeling the changes in his body, Su Chen could not help but let out a long sigh of relief. Soon after, he slowly got up from the bed, his bones making cracking sounds. In the next moment, the system, which had been ringing in his mind, stopped. The originally meager spiritual power in his body suddenly stagnated. Immediately after that, boom! A rumbling sound came from Su Chen's body. The room suddenly was lit up brightly. Endless divine light rushed out from his dantian, making deafening sounds like a tsunami. In Su Chen's dantian, the spiritual energy seemed to be gushing out endlessly and turned into divine light, illuminating the entire room with golden colors. The powerful spiritual energy flowed through Su Chen's limbs and bones, causing his body to undergo earth-shattering changes. Boom! A dull sound came from Su Chen's body as if some shackles in his body had been broken. He instantly felt the world become clear as if he had ascended to immortality. That was really intoxicating. The 8th level of the Qi gathering realm, Su Chen was delighted when feeling the spiritual energy surging in his body. Not only had he fully recovered from his injuries, but his cultivation had also broken through to another level thanks to the system. This system, it was still useful. Wait.
Su Chen post.
In the next second, the system notification sounded in his mind. Ding. Congratulations on being bragged about by others. The brag is level purple. Bragging content. Senior brother Su Chen is blessed with Heavenly Tao Providence. 1/10,000. Level purple? Blessed with Heavenly Tao Providence? These junior brothers and sisters are really good at bragging. Su Chen shook his head slightly when hearing the system notification in his mind. If he wanted to be blessed with heavenly Tao providence, he needed to be bragged about by 10,000 people. Although the original host had some connections in the Great Mystery sect, it was too difficult to scrape together 10,000 people. The heavenly Tao providence. This was the protagonist's golden finger. It was something that could be encountered but not sought. Usually, if you were not born with that, it would be very difficult for you to have it in this lifetime. Only those chosen by the heavenly Tao could have the blessing of the heavenly Tao providence. Those who had the blessing of the heavenly Tao providence could even influence the prosperity of a faction. The reason why the original host of this body was able to escape death twice in a row was because of the blessing of the heavenly Tao providence. Su Qian guessed that the reason why the original host died this time was probably that he had wasted most of the heavenly Tao providence in the previous 2 times. However, at this moment, there was a sharp rap on the door.
Bang! Bang!
Then, an anxious voice sounded. "Senior brother Su. This is Chao Yun. I came to see you with our junior brothers."
Cao Yun.
Hearing this voice, Su Chun carefully recalled. Su Chun had some impression of this person who had a good relationship with the original host. This person must be the one who started bragging about the removal of the toxins in his body. Thinking of this, Su Chun stood up, opened the door, and walked out of the thatched cottage. "Senior brother Su. Senior brother Su." Many outer sect disciples shouted in surprise when they saw Su Chun. "Senior brother Su, are you all right?" Chao Yun, standing in front of the crowd, looked at Su Chun, who was unharmed, and asked. Although Su Chin's face was still a little pale, his aura was very stable. It did not seem like he was injured. "I've completely recovered," Su Chun said casually. Again. This remark made many disciples present panicked. The same thing happened again. The disciples present respected Su Chun very much, so they would not have any doubts about him. Moreover, judging from Su Chin's aura, he did not seem to be lying. Ding. 10 people have been detected to have the headcanon that you are blessed by the heavenly Tao providence. Blessed with the heavenly Tao providence. 18/10, 000. The system notification sounded again. The characters on the light screen also jumped rapidly. Some of the disciples here had just joined the Great Mystery sect this year. At first, they did not believe that Su Chun was blessed with the heavenly Tao providence. After all, his 2 adventures were only hearsay, and they had never seen it with their own eyes. But now that Su Chun was safe and sound, the new disciples who had been suspicious secretly agreed with Chao Yun's words. "Have you buried the other 4 junior brothers in my team?" Su Chen glanced at the crowd and asked. Everyone froze at his question. The originally joyous atmosphere was instantly shattered, and everyone felt sorrow at heart. This time, there were 5 people on this team. Su Chun was the leader, leading the other 4 disciples into the desolate mountains. But in the end, he was the only one who came back alive. "They have been buried in the desolate mountains," Chao Yun said sadly. "That's good. Are the people from the everlasting sect still in the desolate mountains?" Su Chen asked after giving a little nod. Senior brother Su, is this really related to the everlasting sect?" Chao Yun's expression changed when he heard this, and he hurriedly asked. "Yes."
Su Chen nodded gently.
At least, according to the memories of the original host, this matter was related to the everlasting sect. No, they should be on their way back to the sect. Hatred appeared on Chao Yun's face as he spoke. When Su Chun heard this, he pondered. He was originally prepared to chase after them for revenge, but it seemed that he would not have the chance now. Although it was never too late for a gentleman to take revenge, Su Chun never considered himself a gentleman. Then I'll take revenge in the future. Now I should use the system to make myself stronger and increase my strength, Su Chun thought to himself. Everyone knew that the fantasy world was an extremely dangerous place. Only by becoming stronger could one keep his life. By the way, senior brother Su, what happened in the desolate mountains? Chao Yun suddenly asked at this moment. Other people also cast curious glances at Su Chun after that. When Su Chun heard this, he carefully thought about his previous memories and explained. The everlasting sect lured a 3rd-level Qi realm beast at the entrance of the desolate mountains. And we accidentally? He did not hide anything and simply explained what had happened. Bastards! All the disciples said indignantly. I'll definitely take revenge by myself. Suchin glanced at everyone and said, this was his well-thought-out decision, which would deepen the trust of the disciples in him. Once the trust level reached its peak, they would become his loyal followers and provide him with the energy he needed to make the brags come true. Suchin already had a deep understanding of the system's functions and limitations. He knew that if he wanted to become stronger, the best way was to develop believers. When there were only 10 or 20 people boasting about him, the speed at which he became stronger might be very slow. However, if there were tens of thousands, or even millions, or even tens of millions of believers boasting about him, then his achievements would be unimaginable. Therefore, trust was very important. After all, the system's first requirement was that the person who bragged about him had to be sincere. If it was a show of flattery, even if there were billions of people, the brags would not be true. Just as Suchin had expected, after he said this, everyone looked at him gratefully. A few female disciples even showed gratitude in their eyes. Although Suchin tried to take revenge for himself, wasn't he also taking revenge for his 4 dead junior brothers? Senior brother Su, your aura seems to be even denser than before, an ordinary-looking female disciple said while looking at Suchin. Suchin looked at his junior sister approvingly, which meant he was very satisfied with what she said. This junior sister's remark gave everyone an opportunity to imagine. After my injuries recovered, I gained a little enlightenment and accidentally broke through. Suchin's expression was calm, as if he was talking about something very ordinary. A little enlightenment? Accidentally? The corners of the disciples' mouths twitched after they heard what Suchin said. So, senior brother Su, are you now at the 8th level of Qi Gathering Realm? That junior sister continued to ask. But then she shook her head and continued, no. I've seen other senior brothers who were at the 8th level of the Qi Gathering Realm before. Their auras are not as vigorous as yours. Senior brother Su, did you break through to the 9th level of the Qi Gathering Realm? This junior sister had a shocked expression while talking. Suchin was non-committal on this question. At this time, he naturally could not admit it. If he did, that would be an obvious violation of the system's rules. After all, he was not in the 9th level of the Qi Gathering Realm. Senior brother Suchin is definitely at the 9th level of the Qi Gathering Realm. Chao Yun was also shocked. He had thought that Suchin had broken through to the 8th level of the Qi Gathering Realm at most. However, judging from senior brother Suchin's indifferent expression, he must be in the 9th level of the Qi Gathering Realm. Ding! Congratulations on being bragged about by others. The brag is level white. Bragging content. Reaching the 9th level of the Qi Gathering Realm, 135th. The system notification sounded again. Chao Yun believed that Suchin had already reached the 9th level of the Qi Gathering Realm, which was why he was flattering him. When the other disciples heard Chao Yun's words, they also agreed from the bottom of their hearts. The characters on the virtual interface jumped rapidly. In an instant, the progress bar was full. Bragging content. Reaching the 9th level of the Qi Gathering Realm, 35/35. A stream of energy gushed out from Suchin's dantian and spread to his limbs and bones. Boom! A powerful aura emitted from Suchin's body. Sure enough, this is the aura of the 9th level of the Qi Gathering Realm. Chao Yun took a deep breath and slowly exhaled. This kind of aura was not new to him. He had felt it many times from the other senior brothers of the Great Mystery Sect. Senior brother Su is so powerful. I told you, senior brother Su is a lucky man. Not only did he heal his internal injuries, but he also broke through to the 9th level of the Qi Gathering Realm in one fell swoop. The eyes of the junior sisters present were glaring with luster. In their opinions, this was Suchin's response to the crowd, indicating that he was indeed a level 9 Qi Gathering Realm cultivator. In fact, Suchin only made a sudden breakthrough and did not have time to control his aura. Senior brother Su's talent is extraordinary, and he's even blessed with the heavenly Tao providence. I wonder what his future achievements will be. I need to keep in close touch with senior brother Suchin, Chao Yun thought to himself. He had to think of a way to ride Suchin's coattails. He believed that in the near future, this big fish would definitely become a giant. A person blessed with the heavenly Tao providence was destined to have extraordinary achievements in the future. He didn't expect to become senior brother Suchin's right-hand man. As long as he could receive a little blessing, his future achievements would surpass the majority of other cultivators. Moreover, Su Chun wasn't like the other senior brothers who always hid their own cultivation insights. As long as the junior brothers sincerely asked for advice, Su Chun would give them some guidance. It was very difficult to find another senior brother like Su Chun, and it was completely his luck to meet Su Chun. Chao Yun was not the only one who had such a thought. Su Chen's previous 3 adventures, the good impression he had left on others in the past, and his statement of taking revenge personally this time made everyone's trust in him increase and planted a seed of trust in their hearts. Senior brother Su, you haven't told Elder Xia about your recovery, have you? Chao Yun's eyes lit up as he hurriedly spoke. No, I was just about to inform Elder Xia when you came, Su Chen shook his head and said. Senior brother Su, you've just recovered from your injuries and made a breakthrough of 2 levels in a row. It's better to nurse yourself back to health first. Leave these trivial matters to me. Chao Yun's tone was filled with anticipation. Su Chen nodded slightly and said, all right, then I'll have to trouble junior brother Chao. Chao Yun was right. He had made a breakthrough of 2 levels in a row and indeed needed time to maintain health. Su Chen could tell that Chao Yun wanted to curry favor with him. If he wanted to develop believers, he needed people like Chao Yun. After obtaining Su Chen's approval, Chao Yun dispersed the surrounding disciples before heading to the Elders' Hall. The other disciples also returned to their rooms, and Su Chen turned around and went back to his thatched cottage, starting to sort out the memories in his mind. At the Elders' Hall in the outer sect, after hearing Chao Yun's report, Xie Qi could not help but sigh. He has quite good luck. Although Xie Qi was an outer sect elder, his status in the Great Mystery Sect wasn't low. He didn't have the time to care about all the outer sect disciples. Su Chen was one of the few people he paid attention to. Ever since Su Chen returned safely from the demonic sect and had a breakthrough of 2 levels, Xie Qi had begun to pay attention to him. When Su Chen met the elder of the Blood Demon sect and managed to survive for the 2nd time, and even increases his strength, Xie Qi was certain that Su Chen was blessed with providence. This time, he was even more determined. Not only was Su Chen blessed with providence, but it was also not something ordinary. Although Su Chen could not compare to those legendary figures blessed with great providence, Su Chen's future achievements would definitely be above his. The best way to deal with such people was to rope them in and invest before they grew up. It was the most wrong thing to make enemies of those who were blessed with providence. Of course, if the two were enemies from the very beginning, then it would be a different story. Are you sure that the injuries in his body have completely healed? Xie Qi suddenly came to his senses after marveling at Su Chen's ability. As an elder, he was absolutely more knowledgeable than Chao Yun. He had seen countless level 9 Qi gathering realm cultivators and knew how powerful they were in this realm. As for how powerful a 9th level Qi gathering realm cultivator was, Chao Yun had to rely entirely on his subjective judgment. After all, he was only a level 5 Qi gathering realm cultivator. I'm sure that senior brother Su Chen's injuries have been completely healed, Chao Yun said after thinking for a moment. Did he enter the forbidden stage? Xie Qi muttered to himself with a look of surprise. Chao Yun was jolted within when hearing this. Chao Yun once read about the so-called forbidden stage in the ancient books in the library pavilion. It was the performance of a major realm reaching its peak, perfect and flawless. There were only 9 levels in the Qi gathering realm, and after the 9th level was the Qi Sea realm. There was no 10th level between them. Therefore, the forbidden stage was also referred to as the 9th level. However, compared to the other level 9 cultivators, the spiritual power of the cultivators in the forbidden stage was more vigorous and their foundation was incomparably firm. There were no flaws in their cultivation. They were invincible in the same realm and could even fight across realms. Go and call Su Chen over. I have something to ask him, Elder Xia instructed Chao Yun after thinking for a moment. Got it. After that, Chao Yun's expression turned serious. Then, he hurried towards Su Chen's residence. Looking at Chao Yun's departing figure, Elder Xia stroked his beard and pondered. He did not think that Su Chen could really reach the legendary forbidden stage in the Qi gathering realm. The probability of such a thing happening was extremely low. Even a rare genius would not be able to reach the forbidden stage in the Qi gathering realm. It was just a random guess that he had made. However, Chao Yun, who had just left, did not know. At this moment, Elder Xie's words were still echoing in his mind. Based on Elder Xie's tone and demeanor, coupled with Chao Yun's own headcanon, he was now certain that Su Chun was a super genius who had stepped into the forbidden stage in the Qi-gathering realm. Since Elder Xie said so, it must be true. Senior brother Su Chun is indeed blessed with the heavenly Tao providence. He can actually step into the legendary forbidden stage. I definitely have to ride his coattails. The more Chao Yun thought about it, the more excited he became. He felt that his decision to please senior brother Su Chun was the best decision he had ever made in his life. Not only did Su Chun have amazing moments of serendipity, but his talent was also peerless. If one wanted to reach the forbidden stage in a single realm, it was impossible to rely solely on luck. One also needed sufficient talent as support. Su Chun lacked neither luck nor talent, so he was destined to be extraordinary in the future. Chao Yun was filled with excitement along the way. Soon, he met his junior brothers halfway. After a simple conversation, Chao Yun told them that Su Chun had advanced to the forbidden stage. The forbidden stage? Senior brother Chao, are you talking about the forbidden stage that is known to make someone invincible among those of the same level? What? Did Elder Xie say it himself? Senior brother Su Chun is indeed blessed with the heavenly Tao providence. That's incredible. Ding. Congratulations on being bragged about by others. The brag is level blue. Bragging content, the forbidden stage. 1 out of 100. Su Chun, who was cultivating in the thatched cottage, heard the system notification in his mind. He slowly opened his eyes. The forbidden stage? Su Chun muttered to himself softly as he listened to the system notification echoing in his mind. 100 people. That is not so difficult. Su Chun murmured to himself. Bragging content, the forbidden stage, 20 out of 100. Not long after, Chao Yun came to convey Elder Xie's message. After the message was delivered, Chao Yun left. Su Chun could clearly feel that the way Chao Yun looked at him had changed greatly. Bragging content, the forbidden stage, 30 out of 100. Thinking about how he was suddenly bragged about entering the forbidden stage, Su Chun immediately understood. You are really lucky, Elder Xie said after sizing Su Chun up. As a man of great insight, Elder Xie could tell at a glance that Su Chun's injuries had completely recovered. Elder, you are flattering me, Su Chun said humbly. Elder Xie knew very well of the original host's 2 fortuitous adventures, so he deduced that Su Chun was blessed with providence. Thank you, Elder Xie. Su Chun cupped his hands slightly. Although Elder Xie was stronger than Su Chun, he was still just an outer elder of the Great Mystery Sect. Even if he personally came out to negotiate, he couldn't do anything to the everlasting sect disciples. Usually, this kind of thing was usually left to the outer sect deacons to deal with. Since Elder Xie was willing to personally interfere, he seemed to have taken a stand on this matter. Su Chun didn't reject Elder Xie's gesture of goodwill. With the protection of an elder in the Great Mystery Sect, it would be much more convenient to do anything. Right, there's something I need to remind you of. Elder Xie looked at Su Chun and paused for a brief moment before continuing. The reason why you're targeted by the everlasting sect disciples should be because you are blessed with the heavenly Tao providence. No one will easily provoke a person blessed with the heavenly Tao providence unless the two parties are originally enemies. It's a good thing for us that you are blessed with the heavenly Tao providence, but this is something that the everlasting sect doesn't want to see. They're trying to consume your providence. Though you fell on your feet this time, you may face even more danger next time. At this point, Elder Xie's expression gradually became solemn. Elder Xie had been observing whether Su Chun was blessed with the heavenly Tao providence, but he did not dare to make a conclusion. Even after this incident, he could not guarantee that Su Chun was the one blessed with the heavenly Tao providence. The only thing he was certain of was that Su Chun's providence couldn't be underestimated. In the future, even if Su Chun did not become a legendary figure, it should be very easy for him to be an inner sect elder. The Great Mystery Sect was one of the top sects in the Dachu dynasty in the East Barrens, and the inner sect elders had very high status. The everlasting sect should have your information, but we, the Great Mystery Sect, also have the information about their disciples who are blessed with great providence. Elder Xie flicked his finger while talking. A jade slip appeared out of thin air and darted towards Suchun. Suchun subconsciously reached out to catch it. Before he could take the initiative to release his aura, a vigorous force gushed out from his body. Elder Xie's pupils suddenly constricted, and his smile froze on his face when he saw this. Elder Xie's eyes were filled with shock. However, the truth was right in front of him. Suchun had indeed entered the forbidden stage, making a breakthrough of 2 levels in a row and even entering the forbidden stage. What kind of freak was he? For a moment, Elder Xie was a little confused. How did you break through 2 levels in a row and even enter the forbidden stage? Elder Xie's voice trembled slightly as he spoke. If Suchun had spent 3 to 4 months collecting himself before entering the forbidden stage, he would have accepted the fact and would even have praised Suchun as a peerless genius. But how long had it been? 1 day? 2 days? No, it had only been 10 hours since Suchun was injured. It was nothing if Suchun leaped from the 7th level to the 9th level in 10 hours, but he actually entered the forbidden stage. Even if he was blessed with great providence, it was impossible for him to do this. Because this had nothing to do with luck, it had to do with talent and insight. Freak. He is definitely a freak. Elder Xie shouted crazily in his heart. In the past, he only paid attention to Suchun's providence, and seemed to neglect the fact that Suchun was insightful and talented. I don't know either. When the toxins were cleansed, there were flashes of insight in my mind, so I seized the opportunity to cultivate. And when I came back to my senses, it turned out to be...
Suchun shrugged helplessly.
He did feel helpless, having little time to react to the unexpected advance to the forbidden stage and the release of aura in an instant. Enlightenment was a cultivation state that every cultivator dreamed of. Unfortunately, it was something that could only be encountered by chance. Elder Xie had never had a single epiphany since he started cultivating. Looking at Suchun's helpless expression, he had the urge to slap him to death. You go back first, I need a moment. Elder Xie tried his best to suppress the urge to kill Suchun and slowly turned around. He really didn't want to see Suchun's helpless face, nor did he want to stay with Suchun anymore. Because if he spent 1 more minute with Suchun, he was afraid that he would get really annoyed.
Suchun.
He really didn't know what was good for him. If Elder Xie could gain enlightenment once, he would probably jump with joy. However, Suchun gave a helpless look. He really didn't know what was good for him. Seeing the change in Elder Xie's expression, Suchun was a little confused. He shrugged and restrained his aura. Then, he cupped his hands slightly towards Elder Xie's back. I'll take my leave. With that, he turned around and walked out of the hall. Elder Xie gradually composed himself after Suchun disappeared from the hall. If Suchun is really blessed with great providence, then the Great Mystery Sect may achieve better development in the future. Elder Xie thought to himself. He was even more determined to invest in Suchun. Suchun, who had left the Elders' Hall in the outer sect, also heaved a sigh of relief. To be honest, if Elder Xie had asked for more details, Suchun would definitely have been exposed. Because he hadn't thought of an excuse yet. Fortunately, Elder Xie didn't ask further. Suchun was also happy to see this. Anyway, he had passed the test of Elder Xie. After returning to his thatched cottage, Suchun sat cross-legged on his bed and carefully sensed the changes this time. Entering the forbidden stage made his dantian even wider, as if it had reached a certain limit. Boundless spiritual energy filled every part of his dantian, and it was more condensed and uniform than before. Is this the legendary forbidden stage? Feeling the surging power in his body, Suchun was a little excited. Martial arts, weapons, and battle experience were all related to a cultivator's strength. Before breaking through to the Qi-Si realm, he could still improve himself in these aspects. As long as he made good use of the system, his strength would soar in a short period of time, and his chances of taking revenge would also increase. The jade slip that Elder Xie gave him not only contained information about the people blessed with great providence in the everlasting sect, but it also contained another piece of information. That was, a small portion of the everlasting sect's disciples had methods to deal with the people blessed with great providence from the Great Mystery Sect. Suchun should have met them before, and the probability of meeting them next time was also very high. In the beginning, They had only done it in secret, trying not to give themselves away. But now, they did it in the open. The Great Mystery Sect also gave them a taste of their own medicine and formed a team to target the hot shots blessed with the great providence from the everlasting sect. Since Su Chun survived this time and his strength increased greatly, he believed that the next time he met people from the everlasting sect, he would be attacked even more fiercely. Even if he didn't seek revenge, the everlasting sect's disciples wouldn't let him go. If I use the system properly, my strength will be able to increase rapidly. Right now, there's a suitable opportunity. Su Chen exited his cultivation state and pondered silently. In 3 days, the monthly Outer Sect trial would begin. The Outer Sect trial was divided into 3 aspects: cultivation, actual combat, and talent. After passing these 3 tests, one would be able to obtain the most precious reward that the Great Mystery Sect left for the Outer Sect disciples, and would also be promoted. No matter which sect it was, the resources obtained by Outer Sect disciples were often not the best, and the sect would not give a large number of resources to the Outer Sect. Therefore, many times, if the Outer Sect disciples wanted to obtain good resources, they had to complete sect missions. The more difficult the sect's mission was, the more precious the reward would be. For Outer Sect disciples, the only way to obtain high returns with low risk was the monthly Outer Sect trial. However, not everyone could grasp this opportunity. The minimum requirement of cultivation in the first test was the 9th level of the Qi Gathering Realm, and one could not be older than 20 years old. Most of the Outer Sect disciples would be screened out in the first test. Su Chun had absolute confidence in passing the trial, but his goal was not for the reward, but for the brags of others. This was a very good opportunity, a chance to subtly hint at others to brag about him. Although the system had clearly stated that he could not explicitly hint at others to brag about him, he thought that it would not have much influence. Sometimes, it was easier to make people have a headcanon with a cryptic hint, and the invisible headcanon was often the most effective. The more headcanons people had about him, the more exaggeratedly they would brag about him, and the faster his strength would be increased. Every Outer Sect trial would attract a lot of people, including disciples and inner sect elders. If he could seize this opportunity, he would definitely be able to improve greatly. However, the premise was that there were some of his loyal fans or fanatics among the crowd. Only people who had trust in him would brag about him sincerely. Therefore, in the 3 days before the Outer Sect trial, he did not plan to continue cultivating. Instead, he wanted to try his best to win more fans. It was hard to achieve great improvement even if he kept cultivating day and night during these 3 days. Since he was considered blessed with providence after his 3 adventures, it was best for him to build up his prestige, or rather, to increase the trust of some of his fellow disciples in him, and to lay a good foundation for the worship and brags of his future billions of believers in these 3 days. Blessed with great providence, 69/10,000. Blessed with great providence, 70/10,000. The characters on the virtual interface jumped again. Su Chen knew that the news of his 3 adventures had gradually spread among the Outer Sect disciples. His fellow disciples, who had received his guidance and had trust in him, were willing to believe that he was blessed with great providence. This was especially true for those newbies who had just joined the Great Mystery Sect not long ago and did not know too much about cultivation. How much I can improve will depend on my performance in these 3 days. Su Chen's eyes lit up as he whispered. After that, he stood up and walked out of the thatched hut, preparing to start his ambitious plan of developing believers among the nearby Outer Sect disciples. As one of the top sects in the Dachu dynasty, the Great Mystery Sect was as prosperous as a large city. Other than the standard martial arts field, scripture pavilion, and library pavilion, there were also institutions such as the Law Enforcement Hall, Weapon Forging Hall, and Medicine Refinery Hall. Due to the large number of disciples, there was even a trading market within the Great Mystery Sect. Because the sect was powerful and occupied a very large area, every Outer Sect disciple had their own thatched hut. Su Chun had just left the thatched cottage not long ago. Before he could take another few steps, he met many familiar fellow disciples. Senior Brother Su. Senior Brother Su. When the disciples saw Su Chun, they greeted him enthusiastically. Su Chun smiled and nodded in response. In this area of the outer sect, many disciples had received Su Chen's guidance and were very respectful to him. Is that senior brother Su Chen? Sure enough, he's handsome. Senior brother Su Chen is so good-looking. Don't you have questions about cultivation? Now that senior brother Su Chen is here, why aren't you going to ask him for advice? Is it really possible? Definitely. Senior brother Su Chen is a kind person. As long as you sincerely ask for advice, he will definitely give you some pointers. Walking along the bluestone paved road, the figures of the outer sect disciples gradually increased. From time to time, Su Chen could hear some conversations. Senior brother Su. At this moment, a timid and ethereal voice rang out. Su Chen's heart skipped a beat. He knew that his chance had come. However, his expression remained calm. He slowly stopped and turned around. He saw a clean-looking, delicate girl walking towards him under the push of several female disciples. Junior sister, what's wrong? Su Chun gave a breeze-like smile and asked in a gentle voice. Unlike the other senior brothers and sisters who were cold and had a faint sense of superiority, Su Chen's smile eased the tension of this junior sister. Senior brother Su, I have a question about cultivation that I want to ask you. This junior sister was a little shy. She did not dare to look directly at Su Chen with her big, watery eyes. What is it? I will definitely tell you all I know. Su Chen gently nodded and looked at his junior sister with a smile. He had never seen this girl before, so she must have just joined the Great Mystery Sect. Such a junior sister was the easiest to deceive. Oh no, it was the easiest to make her build up trust in him. Really? Her eyes lit up when she heard this and asked excitedly. She thought she would be rejected again. Before this, she had already been rejected by several senior brothers and sisters. Su Chun nodded with a faint smile. Of course it's true. Senior brother Su, I keep feeling that I can't use my full strength when I perform the Great Mystery Sword style. I asked the elders before, but I was unable to break through that barrier. Do you know why? She frowned slightly while talking, her face full of distress. There were many outer sect disciples in the Great Mystery Sect, but none of them had a master. But the outer sect elders would impart their skills and teach Tao to them collectively. However, the outer sect elders were so busy that they had limited time for teaching, and they could not answer every disciple's questions at all. This little junior sister had been bothered with questions, but the fellow disciples she was familiar with were pretty much on the same level as her, so they could not give her any guidance. She had been thoroughly disheartened after failing to consult 3 or 4 of her senior brothers and sisters. This time, she plucked up the courage to ask Su Chun for advice after being egged on by a few fellow disciples she had a good relationship with. When performing the Great Mystery Sword style, you must control the speed of the circulation of your spiritual power. Your body must also maintain a high degree of physical coordination in order to unleash your full strength, Su Chun said gently while looking at her. The Great Mystery Sword style was the unique basic sword move of the Great Mystery Sect, and it was also a compulsory martial technique for the entry of the Great Mystery Sect. Of course, Su Chun had learned it before, and his skills were perfect. Such a small question was quite easy for him. How about this? You practice it for me on the spot. Su Chun looked at his junior sister's half-understanding expression and spoke again. Okay. She took a deep breath and replied in a clear voice. Then, she took a few steps back and pulled away from Su Chun. After that, she began to perform the Great Mystery Sword style. Clang! The long sword let out a series of humming sounds. The little junior sister's petite body began to dance. The spiritual power in her meridians circulated, stirring up the surrounding breeze. Even though she was only a level 3 Qi gathering realm cultivator, the sound of her sword tearing through the air was enough to make the hair of mortals stand on end. Soon, the little junior sister finished practicing the entire set of Great Mystery Sword style. Su Chen looked at her and nodded. Just as he had guessed, with his current strength, it was not a problem for him to guide a level 3 junior sister. After that, he pointed out some of her cultivation problems and practiced the perfect Great Mystery Sword style for her on the spot. When the practice was over, she suddenly revealed an expression of dawning comprehension. Some of the questions that were difficult to understand were suddenly cleared up. I understand. Thank you, Senior Brother Su. Thank you so much. She bowed slightly to Su Chun with excitement. Seeing this, Su Chun smiled and waved his hand, indicating that this was a small matter. Then, he flicked his sleeves and walked forward. He had an imposing manner, as if he was going to leave nothing behind after everything was done. Before he left, he saw the admiration in his little junior sister's big, watery eyes. He knew that he had won another little fangirl. He didn't lose anything in this process. Instead, he gained the favor of his junior sister and her friends. Ah Jing, am I right? Not only is senior brother Su Chen handsome, but he is also very approachable. He never hides his insights on cultivation. I'm already in love now. Senior brother Su Chen is simply too charming. Ah, who can refuse a handsome and charming senior brother? That's true. No one in the entire outer sect is more charming than senior brother Su Chen. Su Chen had just walked away when he heard the discussion of his junior sister's friends behind him. Yes, senior brother Su Chen is the most charming. He Jing looked at Su Chen's disappearing figure, and her beautiful eyes gleamed with luster. She had just joined the Great Mystery Sect and was only a level 3 Qi gathering realm cultivator. The problem of the Great Mystery Sword style had troubled her for a long time. She had consulted 3 or 4 senior brothers and sisters, but without exception, they all ignored her. She didn't know how long it would take to understand the question just by her own exploration. Now, Su Chen's explanation and demonstration made her instantly enlightened. Handsome, talented, approachable. These were the labels that others gave Su Chen. If only the first glance could last forever. He Jing's favorable impression of Su Chen had reached its peak the first time they met. Ancient God level appearance, 199th. Ancient God level appearance, February 99. Ancient God level appearance, March 99. Not long after Su Chen left, the virtual interface popped up in front of him. Do all junior sisters like to brag so much? He looked at the virtual interface in front of him and muttered to himself. He knew without thinking that the people bragging about his appearance were definitely that junior sister and her fellow disciples who were close to her. Although they were not bragging about his strength, if he really had the appearance of an ancient god, it would still be of some help to him. At the very least, it would make it easier for him to gain the trust of others. Su Chen retracted his gaze, hid the virtual interface, and began to stroll around the outer sect disciples area. As soon as he appeared, many junior brothers and sisters came to ask him some questions about cultivation. Su Chen had already reached the 9th level of the Qi gathering realm, and he had also stepped into the forbidden stage. In the entire outer sect, no one was his match. If an outer disciple could break through to the Qi realm before the age of 20, he or she would be able to enter the inner sect and become an inner disciple. Of course, they could also choose to participate in the outer sect trial and become inner sect disciples. If one could not pass the outer sect trial and break through to the Qi realm before the age of 25, they would be sent to help manage some of the sect's businesses. Most of the people who came to consult Su Chen were junior brothers and sisters of the 3rd or 4th level of the Qi gathering realm. Su Chen was talented from the very beginning, and it was easy for him to guide these junior brothers and sisters. The outer sect disciples of the Great Mystery Sect were all taught by the outer sect elders. Usually, the elders only had an hour to answer their disciples' questions. However, there were many outer sect disciples in the Great Mystery Sect, and the elders couldn't take care of everyone. Therefore, individual guidance was extremely precious to them. Some junior brothers and sisters who did not have the chance to be guided by the outer sect elders would ask for help from their senior brothers and sisters. However, not every senior brother or sister was like Su Chen, willing to give them pointers. Many times, they would return disappointed. Though there were some warm-hearted senior brothers and sisters willing to give advice, they would still secretly hold back a trick or two in teaching skills. For the next 2 days, Su Chen walked around the outer sect disciples' residences to help them solve their problems. Senior brother Su is simply my lifesaver. I had a problem with my cultivation that had troubled me for a long time. I always couldn't have the chance to ask the elders. I was originally in despair, but senior brother Su gave me hope and cleared up my confusion. Me too. If it wasn't for senior brother Su's guidance, I'm afraid I would have wasted more time on some small problems. Not only is senior brother Su talented, but he's also extremely handsome. He never puts on airs as a senior brother. He's simply perfect. That's right. How could there be such a perfect man in this world? I want to marry Senior Brother Sue. Come on, Senior Brother Sue doesn't like men. Don't tell me you want to change his sexual orientation. Talented, handsome, easygoing, and blessed with great providence. Senior Brother Suchan has so many good points. I swear, he's the most good-looking senior brother I've ever seen. Humph. I always have a good eye for men. There are many people who have a crush on Senior Brother Sue. Save it. Don't forget you are 200 pounds. Su Chen was already quite famous among the outer sect disciples, and he had guided many of his junior brothers and sisters in the past few days. Add to that his 3 adventures had spread through the sect, and his popularity among the outer sect disciples reached a small climax. On the way, he could hear some of his junior brothers and sisters praising him. Ancient God level appearance, 95/99. Ancient God level appearance, 96/99. Ancient God level appearance, 97/99. The characters on the virtual interface jumped crazily. In fact, this string of numbers had been increasing for the past 2 days, but right now it was about to reach its limit. Ancient God level appearance, 98/99. Ancient God level appearance, 99/99. Buzz. The progress bar was quickly filled up, and a strange energy was emitted from Su Chen's body. In an instant, his body proportion, skin color, and facial features had undergone slight changes at this moment. The changes were subtle, but Su Chen's temperament was improved to the extreme because of that. In an instant, he seemed to have the essence of the mountains and waters and the spirit of the world. The radiance of heaven and earth dimmed because of him. His temperament was otherworldly, as if a god had descended. Every strand of his hair exuded charm. A few birds on a nearby tree landed on Su Chen's shoulder and chirped happily as if they were celebrating something. Senior Brother Su. Not far away. Some junior brothers and sisters noticed Su Chen, and their hearts skipped a beat when they saw him. They could clearly feel that Su Chen seemed to have undergone some kind of change, but they could not tell what it was. At this moment, the junior sisters felt that Su Chen was the image of their cultivation partners in their hearts. The junior brothers felt that Su Chen was the man they wanted to become the most. If many women thought that you were handsome, then you might really be a little handsome. However, if even men thought that you were handsome, then you were undeniably handsome. This was exactly true in Su Chen. It was hard to hate him just based on his appearance. The benefits of this change were very significant. After half a day, more and more junior brothers and sisters were attracted to this place. There were even many junior sisters who came purely for Su Chen's appearance. They had formed good opinions of him at first sight. After seeing Su Chen's calmness, elegance, and easygoing manner, these junior brothers and sisters felt that his entire body exuded charm. On the 3rd day, Su Chen himself had no idea how many people had become his fans. The ancient god-level appearance made it easy for him to gain the favor and trust of others, especially those junior brothers and sisters he had taught. Their trust and affection for him had completely turned into admiration. Amongst them, the little junior sister that Su Chen taught for the first time, He Jing, had become his #1 fangirl. From then on, she asked Su Chen 2 questions about cultivation, and all of them were perfectly solved by him. With gratitude and worship for Su Chen, she was about to become a fanatical believer. Also, Chao Yun became Su Chen's #1 fanboy. In the past few days, Su Chen had finally confirmed that the person who bragged about him entering the forbidden stage was Chao Yun. Moreover, Su Chen discovered that Chao Yun was a freak of headcanons, a crazy freak of headcanons. Just yesterday, Su Chen guided a junior brother under the watchful eyes of a large group of fangirls and fanboys. Chao Yun happened to be passing by the crowd. When he saw Su Chen, he frantically asked Su Chen if he wanted to participate in the outer sect trial.
Su Chen nodded in affirmation.
And then, Chao Yun began to brag crazily in his mind. Since senior brother Su Chen is participating in the outer sect trial, he must be 100% sure that he can win. Then this outer sect trial is nothing to senior brother Su Chen. In Chao Yun's mind, Su Chen had already stepped into the forbidden stage in the Qi gathering realm. His strength was comparable to that of a Chi C realm hotshot. This outer sect trial would be a piece of cake. Passing the outer sect trial with no difficulty, grand attainment of Phantom Moon, 1/50. Passing the outer sect trial with no difficulty, grand attainment of Phantom Moon, 2/50. All the junior brothers and sisters who were watching had long been filled with trust and good feelings for Su Chun. They agreed with Chow Yun's brag, so the progress bar was quickly filled. Passing the outer sect trial with no difficulty, grand attainment of Phantom Moon 50/50ths. When the characters on the virtual interface disappeared, Su Chun felt as if he had an epiphany. Many comprehensions regarding movement techniques flooded into his mind. Phantom Moon was a movement technique in martial arts. Su Chun had just cultivated Phantom Moon for a short while and had only reached the small attainment. However, after Chow Yun boasted, he instantly improved to the grand attainment of Phantom Moon. Movement techniques were also a type of martial arts. In layman's terms, dodging and moving could also show a cultivator's strength. The stronger the movement technique, the easier it was to avoid all kinds of attacks. Movement techniques were also divided into heaven, earth, black, and yellow, for categories just like martial arts. Phantom Moon, which Su Chun cultivated, was a yellow-level upper-rank technique. If one reached grand attainment of Phantom Moon, even when facing attacks from all directions, he could find a suitable gap to dodge like a fish swimming in the sea and make use of every possible chance, making it difficult to be injured by others' sword. With my strength, it is certain that I will pass the outer sect trial. However, if I want to pass it without any difficulty, I need to reach grand attainment of movement techniques. When Chow Yun's brag came true, Su Chun finally understood. No difficulty meant passing the outer sect trial with 0 difficulties. It was easy for Su Chun to pass the outer sect trial without any pressure given his current strength. However, if he wanted to pass it without any difficulty, he would need to use grand attainment of yellow-level upper-rank Phantom Moon. The system shored up his weak point after making the conclusion. With senior brother Su Chun's talent and strength, you don't aim for the reward by participating in the outer sect trial, do you? Chow Yun asked tentatively. He was in awe of Su Chun, so he was very careful when asking this question. Su Chun raised his head and glanced at Chow Yun when hearing that question. What was this guy thinking again? Su Chun nodded, indicating that he was not here for the reward. However, he didn't give a detailed explanation. He did not participate in the outer sect trial just for the reward. More importantly, he needed to let the surrounding people brag about him so that he could obtain the corresponding reward. Of course, he couldn't say it out loud. However, Chow Yun's eyes lit up when Su Chun nodded in agreement. The rewards of the outer sect trial were very attractive, because each of the top 5 would be rewarded with a C transformation pill. The C transformation pill could increase the success rate of a level 9 Qi Gathering Realm cultivator to break through to the Qi C realm by 50%. It was extremely attractive to level 9 Qi Gathering Realm cultivators. However, in Chow Yun's opinion, a C transformation pill was not attractive to Su Chun at all. Although Chow Yun was only a level 6 Qi Gathering Realm cultivator, he was more knowledgeable and experienced than many of his peers. He had understood a lot of things by flipping through many ancient books in the Great Mystery Sect Scripture Pavilion. He knew that when a cultivator entered the forbidden stage in the Qi Gathering Realm, the bottleneck that prevented this cultivator from advancing would disappear. In other words, as long as Su Chun absorbed and transformed enough spiritual energy, he would be able to break through to the Qi C realm. He did not need the C transformation pill to help him break through to the Qi C realm. That was because his chances of breaking through were 100%. Under such circumstances, why did he still participate in the outer sect trial? To become an inner disciple?
No.
If he wanted, he would be able to break through to the Qi C realm very soon and become an inner disciple. Chow Yun thought about it and could only think of one possibility. The reason why senior brother Su Chun participated in the outer sect trial was entirely for the mysterious stone tablet in the 3rd test. The 3rd test of the outer sect trial was about talent. The stone tablet was particularly used to test one's talent. However, the stone tablet could not only be used to test one's talent, but it could also be used to comprehend many cultivation methods and martial arts. Whether or not one could comprehend the cultivation methods and martial arts in it depended on one's talent and providence. It was rumored that even most of the inner elders of the Great Mystery Sect could not comprehend the information in the stone tablet. The reason why Senior Brother Su Chun is going to participate in the Outer Sect trial must be for the cultivation methods and martial arts in the mysterious stone tablet. Chow Yun said with absolute certainty in his mind. I heard that if one wants to comprehend the cultivation methods and martial arts from that mysterious stone tablet, it is not only related to one's talent, but also related to one's providence. Senior Brother Su Chun is a person blessed with great providence. Doesn't that mean that this time, Chow Yun kept using his imagination, and the more he thought about it, the more excited he became. Seeing Chow Yun's increasingly excited expression, Su Chen knew that this guy must be secretly imagining something again. However, Chow Yun did not brag at this moment, and the virtual interface did not appear in front of Su Chen. Therefore, he did not know what was in Chow Yun's head. Su Chen shook his head and looked away. A freak of headcanons like Chow Yun was exactly what he needed now. Seeing that no one came forward to ask for advice, he stood up and left. The black level lower rank cultivation methods and martial arts.
No.
The black level middle rank, or even the upper rank cultivation methods and martial arts. With Senior Brother Su Chen's talent and providence, he will definitely be able to comprehend the black level middle and upper rank cultivation methods and martial arts. Chow Yun said as he could not suppress the excitement in his heart while looking at Su Chen's disappearing figure. It's no secret that Senior Brother Su Chen has stepped into the forbidden stage in the Qi gathering realm, right? Chow Yun continued to ask. They nodded again, feeling even more confused. Chow Yun was the one who spread the news that Senior Brother Su Chen had stepped into the forbidden stage. So, why did he ask this question now? There is no bottleneck for cultivators who have stepped into the forbidden stage to break through to the Qi realm. In other words, Senior Brother Su Chen has no interest in the Qi transformation pills that will be given to the top 5 of the Outer Sect trial. He definitely has another purpose to participate in the Outer Sect trial. Other than the mysterious stone tablet in the third test of the Outer Sect trial, what else will interest a genius like Senior Brother Su Chen? This isn't the first time that everyone has watched the Outer Sect trial. You all know that one needs to be talented enough to comprehend the cultivation methods and martial arts from the mysterious stone tablet. At this point, Chow Yun paused and slowly swept his gaze across everyone present. The disciples were still confused, not knowing what Chow Yun was trying to say. Seeing that they still did not understand what he meant, Chow Yun shook his head helplessly and continued. If one is highly talented and blessed with great providence, then the probability of comprehending cultivation methods and martial arts will be even higher. I don't think it's a secret that Senior Brother Su Chen is blessed with great providence, right? When they heard this, it all clicked. At this moment, they finally understood why Chow Yun was so excited earlier. That's right. I feel that Senior Brother Su Chen will definitely be able to comprehend the black level middle and upper rank cultivation methods and martial arts. Senior Brother Su Chen has immense talent, and he's also blessed with great providence. He'll definitely be able to comprehend the black level middle and upper rank cultivation methods and martial arts. It seems like it has been a long time since anyone in the entire Great Mystery Sect has been able to comprehend the black level cultivation methods and martial arts. I'm sure Senior Brother Su Chen will be able to make it. I wonder how many cultivation methods and martial arts Senior Brother Su Chen will comprehend? I can't wait. I really hope that tomorrow will come soon. Many of the disciples present agreed with Chow Yun's point of view. In fact, the main reason for this phenomenon was that they had great trust and good feelings for Su Chen in their hearts. Su Chen had taught many junior brothers and sisters in the past few days, and everyone was convinced by him. At this moment, everyone's brag was sincere.
No.
In their opinion, this was not a brag at all. It was a fact that was sure to happen. Comprehending black-level upper-rank cultivation methods and martial arts. 1 out of 80. Comprehending black-level upper-rank cultivation methods and martial arts. 2 out of 80. Comprehending black-level upper-rank cultivation methods and martial arts. 3 out of 80. At this moment, Su Chen was walking towards his thatched cottage when the virtual interface suddenly popped up in front of him. It should be that crazy headcanon freak Chow Yun bragging again. Looking at the virtual interface in front of him, Su Chen instantly thought of Chow Yun. Whether it was his breakthrough from level 8 to level 9 of the Qi-gathering realm, his advancing to the forbidden stage, or the grand attainment of Phantom Moon, it was all because of Chao Yun, the crazy headcanon freak. Chao Yun sincerely wanted to ride Su Chen's coattails, and at the same time, he did admire Su Chen. To Su Chen, Chao Yun was indeed worth training. If Su Chen wanted to become stronger, he definitely need the support of such crazy headcanon freaks. Chao Yun liked to create headcanons, and his brags about Su Chen were straight from his heart. With the direction of Su Chen, Chao Yun would definitely be the #1 bragger in the future. Moreover, after Chao Yun's headcanons and brags came true again and again, he would also become more confident in his own speculation. At the same time, people's worship of Su Chen would grow deeper and deeper until they became his fanatical believers. Back in the thatched cottage, the runes on the virtual interface were still increasing. There were many outer disciples in the Great Mystery Sect, and each of them had their own cliques. When they were free from cultivation, it was easy for them to discuss Su Chen, who had become famous recently. The news that Su Chen was going to participate in the outer sect trial the next day quickly spread. Chao Yun's speculation was also mentioned, and many outer sect disciples agreed with his speculation. As darkness fell, and the moon cast rays of silver light on the ground, everything was silent. In the thatched cottage, the number of characters on the virtual interface in front of Su Chen continued to increase. Comprehending black level upper rank cultivation methods and martial arts, 78 out of 80. Comprehending black level upper rank cultivation methods and martial arts, 79 out of 80. Comprehending black level upper rank cultivation methods and martial arts, 80 out of 80. Su Chen was staring at the virtual interface with anticipation. He had yet to come into contact with the mysterious stone tablet in the third test, and he was very curious about what would happen after this matter became true. Would the stone tablet suddenly appear in front of him so that he could comprehend the cultivation methods and martial arts? Or would the black level upper rank cultivation methods and martial arts directly appear in his mind? Buzz. The moment the progress bar was filled up, a mysterious and pure energy suddenly appeared in Su Chen's mind. This gush of energy was formed after the progress bar was full. This? Su Chen froze when he felt the energy suddenly appear in his mind. Are the black level upper rank cultivation methods contained in this energy? He muttered to himself after carefully observing the ball of energy. Then, he tried to use his will to control it, but he failed. Forget it, forget it. Anyway, tomorrow is the outer sect trial. When I see that mysterious stone tablet, I will be able to understand what's going on. Su Chen tried many times, but the mass of energy still did not budge. He could only give up. The peaceful night passed quickly. The next morning, the outer sect of the Great Mystery Sect was especially lively today. The monthly outer sect trial would begin today. Every time the outer sect trial was held, it would attract a lot of people to watch. Other than a large number of outer sect disciples, there were even a few outer sect elders and inner sect disciples. Su Chen woke up from his cultivation, washed up briefly, and walked out of the thatched cottage. In these 3 days, he had already planted the seeds of goodwill and trust in the hearts of many outer sect disciples. Now, it was finally time for harvest. I wonder what the rewards are this time. Looking at the sun that had just risen in the sky, Su Chen muttered to himself. He wasn't sure what the rewards were this time, but as long as people like Chao Yun and He Jing were around, he would definitely be able to improve. Especially Chao Yun, this crazy freak of headcanons, who might be able to give him some surprises. Thinking of this, Su Chen's mood immediately improved. Taking a deep breath of fresh air, Su Chen walked toward the trial peak in the outer sect. In fact, the trial peak was not a mountain. It was more like a large man-made martial arts field. It was said that the founder of the Great Mystery Sect flattened the peak of the mountain with a sword and then punched the mountain into a depression. At the center of the bottom of the mountain, there were 3 formations. Under the formations, there were the 3 tests of cultivation, actual combat, and talent respectively of the outer sect trial. Stairs were carved out by swords on the inner wall of the mountain with a seating capacity of tens of thousands of people. A straight and steep bluestone staircase extended from the foot of the trial peak to its top, leading directly to the interior of the mountain. At the foot of the mountain, The mountain gate that was usually closed was opened, and the stairs were covered by a seething mass of people all the way up. The outer sect trial had yet to begin, but the mountain peak was already packed with people. I heard that there are a few ass-kickers among the people participating in the outer sect trial this time. I heard that senior brother Liu Yang, senior brother Liu Zhan, and senior sister Mu Qingxue will also be participating in the outer sect trial this time. What? Senior brother Liu Yang is also participating in the outer sect trial today? This outer sect trial is probably the most exciting one in recent years. Don't forget about senior brother Su Chan. Senior brother Su Chin? Which one? Of course, it's that senior brother Su Chan that everyone likes. Oh, he is only a level 7 Qi gathering realm cultivator. Does he really dare to participate in the outer sect trial? Hee, you were away from the sect these few days and didn't know that senior brother Su Chan had already entered the forbidden stage. What? The forbidden stage? How is this possible? I remember that he just broke through to the 7th level of the Qi gathering realm not long ago. How was it possible for him to step into the legendary forbidden stage all of a sudden? You can't brag like this, okay? Although I heard that he was blessed with great providence, how could he enter the legendary forbidden stage? Believe it or not, you'll see the answer later. Don't be too confident. Be careful, or it will be a slap in the face. On the trial peak, many disciples gathered together to discuss. The Great Mystery Sect was extremely vast and had tens of thousands of outer disciples. As a result, the outer sect disciples enjoyed a very large residential area, which meant Su Chun was only relatively famous in a certain area of the outer sect, and not everyone knew him. On the trial peak, 2 outer sect elders showed up at some point. They were the monitors of this month's outer sect trial. After the appearance of the 2 outer sect elders, dozens of outer sect disciples swarmed over and began to sign up. They were all disciples who had made up their minds to participate in the outer sect trial. Boom! At this moment, a pressure wave came from the foot of the mountain. In the eyes of countless people, there seemed to be a huge mountain, surrounded by the soaring sword in tint, slowly rising from the end of the horizon. Thump, thump, thump. Heavy footsteps struck everyone's ears. On the stairs of Trial Peak, a burly figure with a huge sword on his back strode toward the peak. His eyes were filled with wild coldness, and his majestic body was glowing with divine light. His aura of a level 9 Qi gathering realm cultivator was almost unconcealed and was emitting without any restraint. As soon as he appeared, he suppressed all the outer sect disciples on the trial peak. It's senior brother Liu Yang. An outer sect disciple shouted in a deep voice, which immediately attracted a wave of discussion. Senior brother Liu Yang is really here. I heard that he had broken through to level 9 of the Qi gathering realm a month ago. After a month of training, he should not be far from the Qi realm, right? Is there a possibility that senior brother Liu Yang has also stepped into the forbidden stage? Him?
Impossible.
I know he gets lots of talent, but it's not that easy to enter the forbidden stage. His aura is getting stronger and stronger. We all have the same foundation and joined the Great Mystery Sect at the same time. Why is he always one step ahead of us?
Bang!
A deafening noise sounded from the trial peak. Liu Yang ignored the discussions around him and went straight to the 2 elders. His heavy footsteps made the ground under his feet crack, and his vigorous blood and qi stirred up waves of strong winds. After signing up, he crossed his arms and waited silently at the side with his eyes closed. The disciples who were standing close to him somehow felt pressured, as if there was a huge mountain beside them that could collapse at any moment. There were 2 or 3 level 9 Qi gathering realm outer sect disciples coming to sign up after Liu Yang, but none of them caused a sensation. Look, that's senior brother Liu Zhan. At this moment, an unknown outer sect disciple shouted, which immediately attracted the attention of many disciples. A tall and slender man was walking towards the top of the mountain with a confident smile. Liu Yang, who was resting with his eyes closed, opened his eyes and looked over with a serious expression. He indeed came. I'm afraid he could have broken through to the Qi realm long ago, but he deliberately hid it for the outer sect trial. His true goal is not for the outer sect trial, but for the mysterious stone tablet in the 3rd test. Senior brother Lu Jin is a publicly acknowledged genius. Even if he enters the inner sect, he can still shine. I wonder what level of cultivation methods and martial arts he can comprehend this time. It should be easy for him to comprehend the black level lower rank cultivation methods and martial arts. He is even very likely to comprehend the black level middle rank cultivation methods and martial arts. Compared to this, I'm more curious about how long it will take him to pass the second test. 15 minutes, I guess. Hee hee, then you're underestimating senior brother Lu Jin too much. With his strength, it definitely won't take more than 10 minutes. Many outer sect disciples had a heated discussion while looking at Lu Zhan, who was strolling leisurely in the courtyard. Lu Zhan maintained a confident smile on his face from the beginning to the end. After he heard his junior brothers and sisters' guesses and brags, the smile on his face became even wider. Along the way, Lu Zhan smiled as he passed by many junior brothers and sisters. He went straight to the two elders to sign up. Then, he nodded at Lu Yong with a smile and waited quietly on the other side. Not long after, there was an uproar in the crowd. Senior sister Mu Qingxue. Senior sister Mu Qingxue is still so beautiful. Hee hee, I'm not afraid of being laughed at. Today, I came mainly for senior sister Qingxue. You are one of us. A simple glance at senior sister Xue clearly will make my day. Senior sister, look at me. I'm your loyal fanboy. Senior sister is very cold. You're not worthy of her attention. I really don't know who can match up to senior sister Qingxue, who is peerless in appearance and talent. Amidst ripples of praises and exclamations, a beautiful woman holding a long sword ascended the peak. She was tall and slender, with a delicate nose, red lips, and smooth skin. Her long black hair was simply tied up, revealing her swan-like neck. Mu Qingxue moved with light steps, exuding a peaceful aura, like a quiet orchid blooming in a deep valley. She calmly arrived in front of the two elders, signing up, and waited quietly at the side. Countless gazes of admiration were cast on her, but she was still unmoved and her expression was calm. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. 3 consecutive air-piercing sounds rang out. 3 figures moving as fast as flowing lights landed on the peak, attracting the attention of many disciples. They are Elder Xie, Elder Wang, and Elder Li. Why are the 3 of them here? Aren't you talking nonsense? Of course, they are here because there are disciples they value in the outer sect trial. It's better to say the disciples they invest in rather than the disciples they value. That's right. Whether it's senior brother Lu Yong, senior brother Lu Zhan, or senior sister Mu Qingxue, it seems like they are all valued by the elders. Because they are highly gifted, perhaps they will become elders of the great mystery sect in the future. The disciples' voices were filled with envy. The number of outer sect disciples was huge. If disciples were valued by the outer sect elders, it meant that they would have more opportunities to be taught alone. The guidance of an outer sect elder. Ordinary disciples like them usually would only be guided by the elders for a very short period of time, and they might not even have the chance. As for these 3 disciples on the stage, they could get the opportunity to be taught alone at any time. It would be a lie to say that they weren't envied by the others. Su Chen isn't here yet? Elder Xie stood proudly on the peak with a slight frown. His eyes swept across the crowd, but he did not find Su Chen. He had just returned to the Great Mystery Sect. In the past 3 days, he personally went to the Everlasting Sect to ask them to hand over the disciples who put down poison. As he expected, they didn't admit it at all and claimed he was framing the Everlasting Sect's disciples. They said his accusation was empty words with no evidence, a one-sided statement, and he was trying to give them a bad name and hang them. Elder Xie could only curse helplessly and left. As soon as he returned to the Great Mystery Sect, he heard that Su Chen was going to participate in the Outer Sect trial, so he rushed over to watch. However, he did not expect that Su Chen was still nowhere to be seen at this moment. Elder Xie's gaze searched through the crowd of Outer Sect disciples and soon found a few disciples who looked familiar to him, so he beckoned them over. Chao Yun and the others edged through the crowd and hurriedly ran over. Where is Su Chen? Elder Xie asked with a frown. Hearing this, Chao Yun shook his head with a depressed expression and said, I don't know either. However, Senior brother Su Chun clearly stated that he would participate in the outer sect trial this time. Chow Yun hurriedly added after stealing a glance at Elder Xie. Why doesn't he care about such an important matter? Elder Xie said with some reproach. Then, as if he had thought of something, he stroked his beard and muttered, however, the sea transformation pills that will be awarded to the top 5 don't seem to be important to him. After Chow Yun heard Elder Xie's words, his eyes lit up. He hurriedly explained, Senior brother Su Chun decided to participate in this outer sect trial to comprehend the mysterious stone tablet in the 3rd test. Hearing this, Elder Xie gently nodded and said, that's right. The other. Just as he was about to say something, a commotion suddenly broke out in the crowd. It's senior brother Su Chun. Look, that's senior brother Su Chun who has been quite famous recently. He's finally here. I thought senior brother Su Chun wouldn't be participating. This month's outer sect trial can be said to be a fierce battle. I'll definitely be treated to superb performances today. Is that senior brother Su Chun? Why is he so handsome? To be honest, this is the first time I've seen his real face. In the past, I've always heard of his name but never seen him in person. Damn, what is going on? Why do I feel he is even more perfect than the rumors said? Is there really someone who can be so perfect? Oh, what a loss. I've heard many rumors about him, but I have never seen his face before. He is definitely my type. Whether it was Lu Yong, Lu Zhan, or Mu Qingxue, they all had a certain reputation in the outer sect. Not only were they powerful, but they were also extremely talented and had a large number of supporters. However, compared to Su Chin's popularity, there was still a big gap. If it was in the past, with her beauty, Mu Qingxue could be close to Su Chun in popularity. However, after Su Chin's 3-day efforts, it was already very difficult for her to catch up to him. With his ancient god-level appearance, Su Chun gained a large number of fans the moment he appeared. The senior sisters and junior sisters all looked at him with admiration. Even Mu Qingxue, who had always been calm and unswayed by external things, had her eyes lit up. This was because it was the first time she had seen a man with such a perfect appearance. Qingxue, remember that the first requirement of the 3000 purity palace art is to have a peaceful mind as still water. How can you let ripples undulate in your heart just because of a person's appearance? If this goes on, when will you really reach the introductory level of the art? An old voice rang out in Mu Qingxue's mind, as if she had sensed the fluctuation in Mu Qingxue's mind. Master, I'm sorry. Hearing this, Mu Qingxue quickly replied in her heart. Then, she got mentally pacified and returned to a state where she was unaffected by external things. Remember, before you reach the introductory level of the 3000 purity palace art, you must not have any mood swings. The old voice continued to speak in Mu Qingxue's mind. Yes, I will definitely remember Master's teachings. Mu Qingxue nodded lightly and replied in her heart. This brat, Elder Xie, who was not far away, was also slightly stunned when he saw Su Chun. He never paid attention to a person's appearance. In his opinion, one's strength was something fundamental. With a powerful cultivation base, it was only a flash of thought for a cultivator to change his appearance. However, when seeing Su Chun again, he couldn't help but marvel that many female cultivators would probably be heartbroken because of Su Chun. Will one's appearance be improved after entering the forbidden stage? Elder Xie muttered to himself in confusion. However, he did not dwell on this matter. In his opinion, what most fascinated him was the powerful strength, not appearance. Su Chun calmly ascended the peak and went to sign up in front of the 2 elders. Then, he cupped his hands in Elder Xie's direction. The time it took an incense stick to burn passed quickly. The 2 elders stood up and announced that the registration was over. The outer sect trial has officially begun. Enter the field in the order of registration. One of the elders said loudly while looking at the many outer sect disciples. His voice rippled with the fluctuation of his spiritual power, and the originally noisy crowd instantly quieted down. Excitement appeared on the faces of the disciples. No disciple stood out in the outer sect trials in the past few months ago. The first one, Duan Cheng. The elder in charge of testing looked at the registration form and called out the first name. In the crowd, when Duan Cheng heard his name, He took a deep breath and walked out of the crowd to the front of the formation. This is my last hope of entering the inner sect. Duan Chang clenched his fists and muttered softly. He had to pass the outer sect trial successfully. Different from geniuses like Liu Yang and Liu Zhan, Duan Chang was only average in the outer sect in terms of talent, and the chances of him entering the inner sect by breaking through to the Qi realm were not high. He was about to turn 25 years old, but if he still couldn't break through to the Qi realm, he would be sent to some of the sect's businesses for management. Although his talent was only average in the Great Mystery sect, he could be nurtured as a direct disciple in some small sects. He gave up the opportunity to be a direct disciple of a small sect and came to the Great Mystery sect. If he couldn't enter the inner sect, how could he be satisfied? Therefore, passing the outer sect trial and becoming an inner sect disciple was his last hope. The first test was about cultivation. The requirement was very simple as long as one was a level 9 QI Gathering Realm cultivator. It could not be higher nor lower than the 9th level of the Qi Gathering Realm. The stage was covered by the first formation. There was a crystal ball on a round stone pillar. Duan Chang came to stand before the crystal ball and took a deep breath. He placed his hand on the crystal ball and circulated the spirit energy in his dantian with all his might. Buzz. There were ripples of weak light emitted from the crystal ball. You've passed the first test. An elder in charge of monitoring nodded and announced the result indifferently. This crystal ball was specially used to test the spiritual power of level 9 Qi Gathering Realm cultivators. Judging from the brightness of the light it emitted, Duan Chang was just at the intermediate level. The second test was about actual combat. There were 30 puppets refined by the elders in this stage. As long as one could hold out for the time it took for an incense stick to burn under their siege, it would be considered a success. Of course, if one could defeat them, he would obtain even better results. Duan Chang took a deep breath and stepped into the formation of the second test with a heavy heart. Buzz. A black shadow flashed before his eyes. In the next moment, 30 puppets surrounded him. Mystery sword move. Drawing sword move. Swinging sword move. The long sword in Duan Chang's hand clashed with the puppet, producing a series of clanging sounds. The puppets were made of hard materials, and the long sword could only leave a shallow mark on them. In the beginning, Duan Chang was still barely able to withstand the siege of 30 puppets. However, as time passed, he gradually felt powerless. Both his arms, legs, and chest were injured. It looks like he can't hold on any longer. Duan Chang cultivates the yellow-level middle-rank martial arts, but he is still awkward with them. He is also unapt with the movement techniques. I think it's a little difficult for him to hold out for the time it takes an incense stick to burn. There's hope, but he has to pay a hefty price. A few outer sect elders stood together and looked at Duan Chang, who was in the middle of the field, and commented. Duan Chang might choose to give up if he couldn't hold on anymore. If his life was in danger, the elders would step in to save him, but this also meant that he completely failed. Time passed by slowly. In the field, the wounds on Duan Chang's body increased, and traces of blood flowed out from the corner of his mouth. Anyone with discerning eyes could see that he was struggling to hold on. Time's up, you've passed the test. Finally, a voice of redemption rang out, and the puppets stopped attacking. At this moment, the bones in Duan Chang's arms were already fractured, but he did not care. Instead, his face was filled with excitement. After a short rest, Duan Chang dragged his tired body to the third test. An ancient stone tablet about 3 meters tall stood in the center. Duan Chang silently walked to the stone tablet and placed his hand on it. Buzz. A hazy light shone down from the stone tablet and shrouded him. Soon, 4 golden words appeared on the stone tablet. Middle grade upper class. Middle grade upper class, you've passed the test. When the 2 monitoring elders saw this scene, they looked at each other and nodded slightly. Talents were divided into low grade, middle grade, high grade, top grade, and super grade. Each grade was divided into 3 classes: lower class, middle class, and higher class. The lowest requirement for the talent test was the lower class of middle grade. If one's talent was lower than this, it would be considered a failure. When Duan Chang heard what the 2 elders said, he immediately heaved a long sigh of relief. Then, He focused on the stone tablet in front of him. Half the time it took to brew a pot of tea had passed, but there was no change in his body. Without comprehending any cultivation method or martial art, Duan Chang could not help but leave disappointed. Challenges completed. You are rated qualified. Duan Chang is promoted to an inner sect disciple. One of the monitoring elders stepped forward and announced loudly. Although he passed the tests by just meeting the minimum requirement, he was still qualified. It's a pity that he was unable to comprehend any cultivation method and martial art from the mysterious stone tablet. This result is already not bad. Though there are many outer sect disciples, at least half of them don't even have the chance to participate in the outer sect trial. The outer sect trial is the last chance that the great mystery sect gives to us average disciples. Not everyone can grasp it. Many disciples were discussing Duan Cheng's performance. They were not surprised by this result. Most of the disciples who participated in the outer sect trial ended up with such results. Many outer sect disciples who had reached the 9th level of the Qi gathering realm even failed. Next, Wang Yin. The trial continued. Dozens of outer sect disciples went to the field in succession, but none of them achieved any amazing results. Among them, 3 outer sect disciples failed. Next, Lu Yang. When the monitoring elder shouted this name, the surrounding crowd fell silent. Then, an uproar broke out. He's coming. He's finally here. The show is about to begin. Senior brother Lu Yang is finally on stage. Haha, guess how long senior brother Lu Yang can hold out under the siege of the puppets? How long can he hold out? You should ask how long it will take to defeat those puppets. No more than 15 minutes, I guess. 15 minutes? It won't take more than 10 minutes. With Lu Yang's appearance, the atmosphere in the place reached its peak. As one of the few recognized geniuses in the outer sect, Lu Yang was quite famous among the outer sect disciples. Lu Yang is quite good. I just don't know if he'll be able to comprehend the black-level cultivation methods and martial arts. There's a high chance. Why isn't Old Wu here? Doesn't he think highly of Lu Yang? Old Wu has been in closed-door cultivation for a long time. He might be at the critical moment of his breakthrough now. Another breakthrough again? This old fart is always one step faster than me. Elder Xie, Elder Wang, Elder Li, and the 2 elders in charge of monitoring stood together. They looked down at Lu Yang and talked. The outer sect elders would more or less invest in these genius outer sect disciples. It was most worthwhile to invest in these geniuses before they grew up. Of course, there were unspoken rules between the elders. If anyone could find a budding talent, that person would be the talent's exclusive investor. For example, Lu Yang was first discovered by Elder Wu. The other elders would not be able to compete to invest in him. The elders who came to watch the outer sect trial were all, because there were disciples they valued and invested in among the participants. Otherwise, they wouldn't have the time to come here to watch the outer sect trials. Elder Wang invested in Lu Zhan.
Elder Li invested in Movingo. Elder Xie invested in Suchen.
Elder Wu did choose a good time to cultivate in seclusion. Otherwise, he would probably be hopping mad today. Elder Wang suddenly smiled as he watched Yang Lu walk toward the crystal ball. Oh, seems like you are so confident in Lu Zhan's strength and talent? Elder Li raised his eyebrows and asked. Elder Wang and Elder Wu, who was in closed-door cultivation, had always been at odds. They liked to compare everything. Even the outer sect disciples they invested in were no exception. Since Elder Wang said so, it was obvious that he thought Lu Zhan would be able to suppress Lu Yang. You'll know in a while. Elder Wang chuckled and pretended to be mysterious. You are quite confident? Do you really think Lu Zhan will get first place? Elder Li asked with a frown. The outer sect trial had a clear ranking. When everyone finished the challenges, the results would be clear. Oh, do you think that the girl you value will be the number 1? Elder Wang glanced at Mu Qingxue, who was waiting quietly, and said sarcastically, Do you dare to bet? When Elder Li heard Elder Wang's sarcastic words, he was instantly unhappy. Why not? Bring it on. Bet what? Who will be the number 1? Let's gamble with a God Altar pill. God Altar pill? This is a pill that can increase the chances of the breakthrough from the Qi realm to the God Altar realm. What do you want it for? What? Are you scared? You don't dare to bet anymore? Hee hee, you don't scare me. If I lose, I'll give you a god altar pill. But if you lose, you'll give me 10C transformation pills. Elder Wong gritted his teeth and said, Deal. Elder Li replied with a smile. Ahem. Don't be anxious. At this moment, Elder Xie suddenly spoke. Elder Li and Elder Wong looked at him. Seeing that the two of them shifted their attention to him, Elder Xie continued, You all think that the person you value can get first place, so why can't Su Chang get first place?
Su Chen.
Elder Li and Elder Wong froze in shock after hearing this. When the two monitoring elders heard this, they could not help but look over. All the outer sect elders knew that Elder Xie valued a disciple blessed with providence. However, it had not been long since Elder Xie decided to invest in him. Among the elders present, other than Elder Xie, the other elders did not know much about Su Chan. As for Lu Yang, Lu Zhan, and Mu Qingxue, they were chosen by the elders 1 or 2 years ago. Most of the outer sect elders knew about them and knew that they were genuine prodigies. When Su Chen entered the arena earlier, his striking appearance and temperament truly shocked them. But that was all. Charm was just charm. It did not represent talent or strength. Moreover, the last time they heard of Su Chen's name was 2 months ago. At that time, Su Chen was still quite a distance away from the 9th level of the Qi Gathering realm. Since he dared to participate in the outer sect trial today, he must have reached the 9th level of the Qi Gathering realm. But so what? Lu Yang and Mu Qingxue had been in the 9th level of the Qi Gathering realm for a long time. In their minds, Su Chen was only a level 7 Qi Gathering realm disciple 2 months ago. His breakthrough to the 9th level of the Qi Gathering realm in 2 months must be related to the providence he had instead of based on his talent. If he really had extraordinary talent, then he should not be at the 9th level of the Qi Gathering realm, but at the Qi Si realm. He might even alert the inner sect elders and take him in as a direct disciple. If his strength was increased by a large margin in a short period of time, his aura would be unstable, which was the side effect it brought. Su Chen himself also needed a long period of adaptation. He could not be compared to Mu Qingxue and the others. That's right, it's Su Chen. I think he has the greatest chance of getting first place. Elder Xie stroked his beard and said confidently, I'll bet 2 god altar pills on Su Chen being the number 1. The participants of the outer sect trial must be at the 9th level of the Qi Gathering realm. Neither a higher nor lower level would be qualified. In this realm, Elder Xie did not believe that anyone could be stronger than Su Chen, who had entered the forbidden stage. Old Xie, are you sure? Elder Li looked at Elder Xie in disbelief. He really couldn't understand where Elder Xie got his confidence from and thought Elder Xie was offering gifts to others. Let's bet. Seeing this, Elder Wong hurriedly spoke, afraid that Elder Xie would go back on his word. It's settled then. No one is allowed to go back on their word. As he spoke, he gave Elder Li a look. Nobody would say no to the gift of 2 god altar pills. Of course. I wish you won't go back on your word either. Elder Xie stroked his beard and replied with a smile. When the 2 monitoring elders saw this scene, they could not help but feel a little envious. No matter who won, Elder Wong or Elder Li, they would be able to get a god altar pill for free. They didn't think Elder Xie would win. After all, in their limited impression, Su Chen was far inferior to Mu Qingxue and the other 2 in both talent and cultivation. Su Chen's advantage of being blessed with providence alone was not enough to help Elder Xie win this bet. Whether it was Lu Yang, Lu Zhan, or Mu Qingxue, they all had been cultivating at the 9th level of the Qi Gathering realm for a long time. They had been completely stabilized in this realm and could break through to the Qi Si realm at any time. Su Chen, on the other hand, broke through from the 7th level to the 9th level of the Qi Gathering realm in just 2 months. He had no time to settle down, unless he broke through 2 realms in a row and stepped into the forbidden stage at the same time. Elder Xie did not know what the other elders were thinking. However, he was certain that they did not know that Su Chen had already stepped into the forbidden stage. Otherwise, they wouldn't have made a bet with him. Every outer sect elder was very busy, so it was impossible for them to pay close attention to an outer sect disciple. It had only been 3 days since Su Chen entered the forbidden stage. The news had not spread throughout the outer sect, so these elders did not know. It would take time and opportunity for this news to reach their ears. Elder Xia only knew it because he had decided to invest in Su Chun, so he paid more attention to him. You've passed the first test. At this moment, the voice of the monitoring elder suddenly sounded. The crystal ball emitted a dense light. The crystal ball was refined by the Great Mystery Sect through a special technique. It only worked for level 9 Qi Gathering Realm cultivators. The stronger the cultivation, the brighter the light emitted by the crystal ball. Judging from the brightness of the light which Lu Yang made the crystal ball to emit, it could be seen that his cultivation base surpassed many of the disciples who had been tested before. He's indeed very powerful, but he isn't half as good as senior brother Su Chan. Looking at the fading light of the crystal ball, He Jing said silently in her heart. She had been listening to the discussions in the crowd. She realized that although everyone was amazed by Lu Yang's strong cultivation, he had not entered the forbidden stage in the Qi gathering realm. Even though Lu Yang hadn't stepped into the forbidden stage, the light emitted by the crystal ball was so bright. Then how bright the light senior brother Su Chen made the crystal ball emit would be. He Jing was very curious and excited at the same time. She wanted to see Su Chen go on stage as soon as possible. There were many people who shared her thoughts. Lu Yang walked into the second formation and came to the actual combat stage. The discussions in the crowd gradually died down. Everyone wanted to know how long it would take for him to defeat the 30 puppets. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. In the formation, the puppets flashed around, tearing through the air and producing piercing sounds. Facing the attacks of 30 puppets, Lu Yang remained calm as he wielded a heavy sword made of dark steel. Every time he swung his sword, the air would explode. A single puppet was not very powerful, but when 30 of them were combined in an orderly manner, their combat power would increase by dozens of times. So strong. What an obvious gap. Is this the strength of a genius? I wonder if I have the chance to reach this stage. Is this the strength of a publicly acknowledged genius? Some of the disciples who had just joined the Great Mystery Sect got really excited. The disciples who had participated in the Outer Sect trial were too far behind Lu Yang. As the 30 puppets became more cooperative in attacking, Lu Yang started to struggle. However, just when everyone thought that Lu Yang was going to be injured, he suddenly became extremely agile and withstood the combined attacks of the puppets with more ease. This is the yellow-level middle-rank martial art, Flitting Phantasm. I was wondering how he could only be at this level. So, he had been hiding his strength all along. With his strength and his perfected yellow-level middle-rank sword techniques, Sky-Shattering Sword and Flitting Phantasm, he can barely be considered an ace in the Qi gathering realm. Elder Wang nodded in agreement. Such strength was worthy of being valued and invested by the elders. Even so, there was still a certain gap between Lu Yang and Lu Zhan whom he valued highly. Boom! The time it took to brew a pot of tea passed. Lu Yang seized the opportunity and swung his sword at a puppet in front of him. Cracks immediately appeared on the puppet's body, and it fell to the ground, unable to move. The way to defeat a puppet was to make it out of action with a strong attack. Defeating a puppet instantly reduced the pressure on Lu Yang. Quickly, boom! Another puppet fell. Immediately after, the third, the fourth, and the fifth fell. When all 30 puppets fell to the ground, Lu Yang stood on the spot with his dark steel sword in hand. His chest heaved up and down violently as he panted heavily. Even though he had successfully dealt with the 30 puppets, it was not easy for Lu Yang. You've passed the second test. The monitoring elder stood up and announced. He's not even injured and is just a little exhausted. As expected, there is a huge difference in strength between cultivators of the same realm. He has nimble movements. Those puppets can't touch him at all. Flitting Phantasm, the yellow-level middle-rank movement techniques. When will I be qualified to cultivate it? He's terrifyingly powerful. I wonder when I'll be able to reach this realm. Lu Yang passed the actual combat test without any injuries, and as expected, it caused a commotion among the outer disciples. It's too early to get excited. The show is yet to come. That's true. Senior brother Lu Zhan and senior sister Mu Qingxue haven't gone on stage yet. Senior sister Mu Qingxue's strength should be about the same as senior brother Lu Yang's. Senior brother Lu Zhan is the real powerful one. You forgot another person. Who else? Senior brother Suchan. You said that he entered the forbidden stage. Did you see him attack with your own eyes? You're only at the third level of the Qi gathering realm. Can you tell the aura of the forbidden stage? I haven't seen it before, but senior brother Suchun has indeed stepped into the forbidden stage. That's it. You haven't seen him fight with your own eyes. Who knows where this news came from? Stop spreading the false information. Hee hee, Elder Xie said it himself. What did you say? Elder Xie said it himself? In the crowd, an outer sect disciple was staggered by the news. Looking at the shocked expression of this disciple in front of her, He Jing felt a burst of joy in her heart. This senior brother whose name she didn't even know actually dared to question senior brother Suchan. This made her very unhappy. Her friends were also annoyed. Senior brother Suchan held a very high position in their hearts, and they would never allow anyone to doubt him. The outer sect disciple did not expect that Elder Xie would personally say this. He dared to question the other outer sect disciples, but he did not dare to question the outer sect elders. At the same time, he did not expect that his words would be met with hostility from the junior brothers and sisters around him. Many junior brothers and sisters who were originally standing with him looked at him with hostility. Then, they quietly distanced themselves from him, unwilling to get too close to this person who questioned Su Chan. Old Xie, tell me honestly, did Su Chen really step into the forbidden stage? Elder Wang glared at Elder Xie. Elder Li also stared at him. Even the two monitoring elders were equally shocked. If it wasn't for the fact that they had to monitor the other outer sect disciples' trials, they would have wanted to get to the bottom of this question. The outer sect elders were powerful, so they could hear the discussions of the many disciples below. Moreover, He Jing and the others weren't far from them, so the discussions couldn't be hidden from them. They didn't mind that Su Chun was surrounded by so many outer sect disciples. However, those outer sect disciples actually said that Su Chun had already entered the forbidden stage. This made them raise their spirits. All the elders present knew very well what the forbidden stage meant. Why are you all looking at me? I never told anyone that Su Chun had stepped into the forbidden stage. Elder Xie's face was filled with innocence. Indeed, he had never told anyone that Su Chun had entered the forbidden stage. Chao Yun had this headcanon and then spread it. It had nothing to do with him. I'm not asking if you've told anyone. I'm asking if Su Chun has stepped into the forbidden stage. Elder Wang was still staring at Elder Xie with an anxious expression. Well, if you believe it, then it's true. If you don't believe it, then it's false. I don't know how to explain it. Elder Xie stroked his beard meaningfully and continued, Also, can't you see it by yourself? Why are you asking me? To advance from the 7th level of the Qi gathering realm to the forbidden stage in 2 months, the probability is so small that it can be completely ignored. Elder Wang frowned and muttered in a low voice. Elder Xie's expression gave him an ominous feeling. However, his rationality told him that the probability of such a thing happening was infinitely close to zero. Elder Wang subconsciously looked at Su Chun, who was exuding charm and overpowering everyone present. Elder Wang noticed that Su Chen's attention was on Lu Yang. Although Elder Wang was far stronger than Su Chun, it was impossible for him to see through Su Chen's cultivation when Su Chun was concealing his aura, unless he had some very powerful eye technique. Unfortunately, eye techniques were very rare in the East Barrens, and were not something that an outer sect elder like him could cultivate. Therefore, before Su Chun released all his aura, he couldn't know what realm Su Chun had reached. Su Chun did not notice Elder Wang's gaze. With his top-notch charm, countless gazes were on him at all times. He gradually got used to it. At this moment, he was analyzing the gap between Lu Yang and himself. Lu Yang was very powerful. He was one of the top cultivators in the same realm. Otherwise, he would not have been able to defeat 30 puppets without suffering any injuries. However, in Su Chen's eyes, Lu Yang would not be able to block more than 5 of his moves. The actual combat test was difficult for Lu Yang, but for Su Chun, it was not difficult at all. What he was more curious about now was how powerful Lu Zhan and Mu Qingxue were. The outer sect of the Great Mystery Sect was very vast. These two people didn't belong to the same area as Su Chun, so it was rare to meet them. However, Su Chun had heard of these two people's names because they had a well-known reputation. Based on the rumors in the outer sect, Mu Qingshua's strength should be on par with Liu Yang's. There was a high chance that Liu Zhan was the strongest among the three. However, this was not absolute, because there were always people who liked to hide their strength. Before Su Qin's strength was completely exposed, most of the outer sect disciples thought that Liu Zhan was the strongest in the outer sect. It's the talent test now. It's finally time for the talent test. I wonder what level of talent senior brother Liu Yang has, and what kind of cultivation methods and martial arts he can comprehend. I'm looking forward to it. While the outer disciples were whispering to each other, Liu Yang came to the mysterious stone tablet and put his palm on it after taking a deep breath. Elder Xie, Elder Wang, Elder Li, and the two monitoring elders also looked at Liu Yang quietly. Not far away, Liu Zhan and Mu Qingxue also kept their eyes nailed on Liu Yang. Compared to Liu Yang's expected strength, everyone was more concerned about his talent. The stone tablet cast a hazy light. In the next moment, buzz. 4 golden words appeared. Top grade lower class. Top grade talent. He has a top grade talent. It seems that I didn't guess wrong. The hazy light cast by the stone tablet did not dissipate. Liu Yang slowly withdrew his palm and sat down cross-legged. He faced the mysterious stone tablet with his eyes closed. Everyone knew that he was going to start comprehending the information in the mysterious stone tablet. At this moment, both the disciples and the elders all held their breaths and stared at him. Every disciple participating in the outer sect trial could stay under this mysterious stone tablet for half the time it took to brew a pot of tea. If one could not comprehend any cultivation method or martial art after this time, it meant that one was not talented and intelligent enough. Liu Yang sat down cross-legged for a few breaths before the mysterious stone tablet released even more hazy light. He made it. He successfully comprehended it. Senior brother Liu Yang is so powerful. He does have the top-grade talent. No wonder he can comprehend something so quickly. I wonder what grade of cultivation methods and martial arts he comprehended. The more hazy light the stone tablet emitted, the higher grade the cultivation methods or martial arts one comprehended. Not long after, the golden characters on the mysterious stone tablet suddenly changed, revealing new information. Yellow level upper rank mountain shaking fist. The yellow level upper rank mountain shaking fist that is within my expectations, Elder Wang said with a nod after glancing at the characters on the mysterious stone tablet. The other elders nodded in agreement. It had been a long time since anyone had been able to comprehend a black level martial art. To be able to comprehend a yellow level upper rank martial art, Liu Yang was worthy of his top grade talent. At the same time, under the mysterious stone tablet, Liu Yang slowly opened his eyes. There wasn't much excitement on his face. The yellow level upper rank martial art was enough for him to use after he broke through to the Qi realm, but he was not satisfied with this result. He originally thought that with his talent, he would at least be able to comprehend a black level cultivation method and martial art. However, the truth disappointed him greatly. Pondering for a while, Liu Yang prepared to break through to the Qi realm on the spot and comprehend with the help of the mysterious state of his breakthrough again. But after thinking about it, he dismissed the idea. He felt that he could improve his cultivation for another period of time to become stronger. Thinking of this, Liu Yang slowly stood up. Challenges completed. You are rated excellent in the tests. Liu Yang is promoted to an inner disciple. The monitoring elder saw Liu Yang stand up and announce the results. Liu Yang didn't look too happy when he heard that. He quietly returned to his original position. To him, even if he didn't pass the outer sect trial, he could still be promoted to an inner sect disciple. Following that, another 3 level 9 Qi gathering realm outer sect disciples went on stage. 2 of them succeeded with difficulty, and 1 failed in the actual battle test. Next, Liu Zhan.
Thank you for listening this, and please, if you need more, please drop comment.